Now that was a monster performance by Renato Vega, but they always tell you never fall in love with a lone player. Never fall in love with something that's not yours. It's like the dudes that go to the strip clubs and they fall in love with the stripper. She's not yours. She's everybody's. Anyways, let's get into the video. Renato Vega versus PSV. What a performance on the big stage for a player where this is now his third game in a Juventus shirt. The pressure, the demands, the standards. Bearing in mind he came from Chelsea and he's hardly played any football this season. But that performance was a monster performance. Let's just look at it. Now, these are some of the key stats behind his performance, but the ones I really want to focus on is number one. 11 out of 14 successful long balls. Now, that is a game changer alone. A long ball from the first phase into the third phase, it takes out the entire opposition press. It takes out their attackers. It takes out their midfielders. You get the ball to your right players in the most dangerous of areas, in the right space, at the right time. But for you to have 11 out of 14 successful, you know what that tells you? It tells you the timing of the pass is on point. The weight of the pass is on point. The accuracy is on point. And I've gone back and rewatched the game today, and I've just focused on him, the individual. And this dude was breaking lines for fun. Every time he got the ball and he saw the forward pass into Nico Gonzalez, into Kolo Muani, he would do it. And 9 times out of 10, he would get it right. And 9 times out of 10, he would allow Juventus to get the ball into those dangerous areas. Now, the second thing that I really want to focus on as well is 17 passes into the final third. And he showed he can get the ball into the final third with a short pass by stepping into midfield and then feeding it into Kolo Muani. He showed he can get on the halfway line and do a medium-ranged pass. And at times, picking up the ball next to De Gregorio, pinging it all over the top. He showed a variety of passes. He showed a range of passing using both feet. And I'll be honest with you guys, having a centre-half that can pass the ball into the opposition half 17 times, it's amazing. And do you know why it's amazing? Listen, I make content. I've gone back and I've looked at the numbers of Gatti and Kalulu this entire season. And I've wanted to see what is the maximum amount of times that they've passed the ball into the opposition half. Gatti, throughout the entire season, the maximum amount was 8. Kalulu, 6. Renato Vega, 17. And it's his third game for Juventus. It's not as if he's familiar with Motta's philosophy and ethos. It's not as if he's familiar playing for this team, for these teammates. No, he's literally just been thrown into the deep end because of injuries, and he's had to step up. And I feel like that performance yesterday, Gatti was amazing, but when I watched Renato Vega, I was like, this dude looks like the real deal. Now, let's just look at his passes in a bit more detail. Now, this is a breakdown of all of his passes throughout the game. Guys, look at this. Passes to the left, passes to the right, passes over the top. This is a wide range of passing. And I feel like this is what Thiago Motta has always wanted in his centre-half. There's a reason why Juventus were dying. They were desperate for Calafiori in the summer because Calafiori has shown, especially in the Serie A, especially in the Italian national team, I can progress play. And you know what made Calafiori so special? And it made Arsenal go out and break the bank for his signature. He can progress play with his passing, but he can progress play with his ball carrying. Up steps Vega. Renato Vega. Just like the James Bond movie. We all saw this. We all saw this. You know, when I saw this, I was like, this is somebody else. A centre-half picking up the ball. A centre-half picking up the ball in the opposition half. And he sees the space. And this applies to every footballer on the pitch. The players that see the space, they assess their situations and they tell themselves, there's space to attack. I'm going to attack it. And he attacked it. And you know what helps? The fact that he's like, 6 foot plus. He's physical. He's strong. He's got long legs. He went charging into that PSV midfield, into that PSV defense. Nobody could get near him. And I guarantee you guys, on another day, he slips it into Kolo Muani. On another day, he gets that half yard and he puts it into the back of the net. And do you know why this is a cheat code? The best way that I can compare it to this is when Pep Guardiola used to put a midfielder at full back and invert them. So now, It's like you've got an extra midfielder on the pitch. Imagine having a centre half that's actually a midfielder by trade. And then you play him in centre half and you tell him, step forwards into midfield. You've now got an extra midfielder that's being deployed in different areas. I feel like it was an amazing performance. But another thing that I saw about him was the fact that he was versatile with his positioning. You could see Juventus, without possession, they set up in the 4-2-3-1. He's now required to play as the left-sided centre half. But as soon as Juventus get onto the ball, it turns into a 3-2-5. Renato Vega is now the central centre-half. Gatti to his right and Lloyd Kelly to his left. The responsibilities of a central centre-half are very different to the responsibilities of the left-sided centre-half. But this is a dude, 21 years old, in his third game for Juventus, and he showed the comfortability to rotate, to play in different areas, to occupy different zones. And I really feel like that performance, he stepped up and he led by example. Now, why I feel Renato Vega's inclusion into Juventus is a game changer, and I'll be honest, there's going to be a lot of focus on Motta. There's going to be a lot of focus on Gentili to try and find a way to secure a deal with Chelsea, because there's no obligation and there's no option. And I feel like there's a reason behind it. Chelsea know the quality this player has, and they felt like just putting him out on a 6-month loan in order to find his feet, in order to play some football, is better than potentially losing him for good. But why was it a game changer? As of late, whenever we've seen Juventus, we've seen Locatelli, who has the responsibility to orchestrate and dictate the tempo of the game in the second phase, which is the midfield, is being forced to drop into the first phase. Why? Gatti and Kalulu are not the most progressive on the ball. And Juventus, they want to play out of the back. So they force their best ball-playing midfielder to drop into defence. And there's been games this season where Juventus, off the ball and on the ball, have set up in a back five. Locatelli drops deep in the middle of Gatti and Kalulu, and now he takes on the responsibility of progressing play from defence into midfield. But guess what happens? You can clearly see it. You're now asking one of the midfielders, one of the attacking players, to drop into midfield to occupy the space that Locatelli leaves behind. So what you're doing is sacrificing a midfielder in order to have somebody be able to progress play from defence. And I feel like it's really disrupted Juventus this season, trying to play this total football. But why it changed is because now you don't have to sacrifice Locatelli anymore. Guys, we all saw Locatelli pressing the goalkeeper. We all saw how involved Locatelli was in the final third. And it helped Juventus impose themselves. But why? Locatelli now knew the centre-halves, they can progress play. Renato Vega, he can progress play with his passing, with his ball carrying. Renato Vega can step into midfield and give us that numerical advantage in order to bounce the ball around the opposition. The fact that Juventus now have a centre-half that can take responsibility of progressing play, I don't need to drop deep anymore. I can do what I do best in midfield and join the attack in the final third. And there's a reason why Juventus were attacking yesterday. They weren't attacking with 1-2 players. They were attacking with the whole team, because they know we can afford to push the entire team forward. Because why? We've got physical centre-halves. But on top of everything, if we push ourselves forward, we trust the centre-halves to get us the ball. And that hasn't been the case as of late, but against PSV, it was. They all went charging forward. They all played in and around Kolo Muani. They all went in for the kill, and they knew Renato Vega, he can get us the ball. And listen, 11 out of 14 long balls, he was successful. 17 passes into the final third, he was successful. And I feel like it was a game changer, because when you've got centre-halves that can break lines, when you've got centre-halves that can get the ball into the final third, it allows you to push the entire teams forward. Because the responsibility now falls on them, and it allows you to sustain pressure. It allows you to retain the ball in the final third. And that's what we saw, especially in the first half against PSV. Now, like I said, there's a lot of pressure now on Gentili to try and find a way with Chelsea to keep Renato Vega. He's only 21 years old. And you could see the passion, you could see the hunger when he goes out and puts on a Juventus shirt. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think of that performance in the comments. And I'll catch you guys on another one.